So I really didn't like how episode 1 came out. It was very long. There's already a lot of great people that play the series entirety without any edits, like Baradul. Go watch him because he's got great knowledge of the game. Me, I don't know what I'm talking about. So instead, I want to do like battle reports. Like when I was a kid, I loved reading White Dwarf and seeing all the Warhammer battle reports, like the turn-by-turn account of what happened. I want to play the game like that, so I'm going to present it like that now. Hope you guys enjoy. Let's go! Welcome to episode 2. I just want to go over what happened last round and we can go from there. Alright, so we're done with the first mission, and it actually went pretty well. Looking at the roster though, I'm actually kind of surprised on who was the big MVP. I would say it's probably the Commando with his SRMs. And while I had a surprise star, I'm kind of worried about the Wolfhound, because to use it really well, it needs to be meleeing stuff, and I just don't have the piloting skill. And by the time I do, I feel like it's going to be too light, so I'm going to see what I can do with that mech. No surprises from the Mask LRM Light Gauss Centurion. It's probably going to be the centerpiece of my army for a while. It's got a couple extra hard points, so I would like to maybe add some extra weapons to it if I can down the line. The Cronus I'd never seen before in Battletech, but I was actually really impressed with what it did. The laser SRM combo is very nice. Unfortunately, it took 10 days worth of damage, so I'm probably going to have to leave it out for the next fight. Leaving us with the untested 3 medium laser and extremely fast dart. In our post-battle loot, we got a couple extra weapons and a Turhan APC. I would only be able to partially rebuild it right now, but I don't want to get rid of it because it carries infantry, it has firing ports, and a microwave on the side, so it seems pretty fun. So we're going to go with Operation Hunting Gremlin. Supposedly a war criminal has been spotted. We need to go kill him, but there is a whole lance protecting him. So typically, if everything goes okay, it's going to be 1 lance plus 1, so 5v me. I'm going to do full salvage. And the dart here, and let us deploy. So our employer gave us the location of our target. Our dropship picked him up on sensors. And checking it out, it looks like he's actually kind of stranded from his support lance. Maybe overconfident from the last mission. I tell our dropship to put us right into the thick of it. We're dropping right on top our target. My idea is that we can take him out before any of his support can help him. Touching down, we have our target on sensors, but no visual contact, so we're not sure where he is. Meanwhile, our dropship has alerted us to 2 VTOLs they saw while flying out. I reserve my lance down to the last turn order. That way we can wait and see what the enemy does. After the coast is clear, I send in the commando to make visual. The enemy target is a locust. Easy pickings, or so I think. Using the rest of my turn, we surround the target. Then, we flip our weapon safeties to red. At the top of the next turn, the enemy sees what's happening and he makes a break for it. But not before he ends up sandblasting half of my damn dart. Unfortunately, that's not the end of the dart's troubles, because very shortly after, the enemy VTOL smothers us in a minefield, trapping the dart with half armor and nowhere to run. Now the entire lance is pretty much caught in a sticky situation where moving around and positioning is going to cost us some leg armor. Commander Stinky realizes that his ambush opportunity is quickly evaporating. He goes for a very risky 50-50 kick and actually gets it off on the locust, stopping it in its tracks. While the enemy struggles to keep itself upright after getting kicked, my Wolfhound gets in position and tries to take a shot with a LBX-10 slug, but unfortunately the shot goes wide. The dart watched the Centurion sprint out of the minefield with no issue, so he tries himself, and steps on a mine and immediately stops. No evasion, no momentum. His juicy leg internals are now wide open to the world, and he is in a bad spot. At the end of our turn, the commando gets a flanking shot on the locust and manages to score a few SRM hits. While we were so focused on getting the priority target, it gave the enemy's VTOLs time to push up and start sandblasting our mechs. Commander Stinky realizes that the dart is in a really bad spot, so he runs out in the open, looking to draw fire to himself. And he even manages to score a couple glancing blows on our target, destroying some feet components, slowing him down. Meanwhile, the dart realizes he is trapped in a minefield, and so he allows the Wolfhound to go before him. The Wolfhound switches from slugs to cluster after the last miss, and takes a shot, scoring more glancing blows. Instead of killing itself by running through a minefield, the dart instead plants its feet and takes 3 desperate shots, missing all of them. Our commando seizes the opportunity to get behind the locust and get some rear armor shots. Unfortunately, only 1 SRM strikes true. Our lack of sensor lock is really apparent fighting these fast moving VTOLs. So at the top of our turn, the Centurion looks for the slowest moving target, fires his light Gauss, and actually scores a really good hit. The Wolfhound continues to pursue the Locust, and instead of firing clusters like last time, fires a slug and hits! My own dart. I didn't realize that till editing. Shit. Letting the Centurion pilot know they don't appreciate getting shot at, the VTOLs drop a goddamn bomb on him, sandblasting his armor. And if that wasn't bad enough, the enemy Locust ends up blowing off the left arm and torso of our poor dart. Honestly, I should have made the call just to have the pilot punch out, but instead I opted to move slowly to avoid mines and position my remaining armor into the enemy. The dart takes 3 more desperate shots and actually scores a hit. And he's rewarded by getting blasted in the back by SRMs and catching an engine crit, panicking him to critical levels. All this commotion gives the commando pilot a chance to get high ground and rear body shots on the Locust. He takes his shots, hits a couple, and actually manages to get an engine crit. Our dart takes a whole nother rocket volley. It's a bit too much for him, and before he can get killed in the cockpit, he punches out. What I thought was going to be a half-star milk run has kind of turned into a bit of a pickle, because now we have 3 units compared to their 5. None of the targets are down, and the VTOLs are incredibly fast moving. Looking for some revenge, our commando again fires from the rear arc. He fires 10 SRMs and 1 medium laser and only strikes once. For a Locust with an engine crit and a broken leg component, this thing knows how to survive. Our Centurion, receiving reports that one of their mechs is down, runs back to establish a battle line. He pushes all the buttons and alpha strikes at the Locust, finally managing to remove that left leg. This causes a chain reaction that ends with the Locust knocked down and prone on the ground. Incredibly, this Locust still has all of its weapons intact. Even worse, it fell amongst the trees, and so the Wolfhound's LBX scatter shot only got a couple glancing blows. Meanwhile, the enemy VTOLs lay down suppressing fire to allow the Locust to stand up. Picking itself up by its own bootstraps, the Locust turns and peppers the Centurion with all of its weapons. But our luck may soon change, because the commando gets a flanking shot, fires all of its weapons, and again only managed to graze the target. The Locust survives another round, while the enemy support continues to pepper us and try to draw attention to them. So the Wolfhound had been flip-flopping its ammo type the entire match, but finally it managed to score a critical strike, removing the left arm on the Locust with an LBX-20 cluster shot. One of the enemy VTOLs tries to flee because it realizes it got a little too close to the Centurion. Never missing an opportunity, Commander Stinky slaps the butt of the VTOL, missing with the Gauss but getting a couple LRM shots in. And finally, our commando finds a clear path to the enemy's rear. Even with 1 evasion, it's still got terrible chances to hit, but it alpha strikes and manages to kill the pilot before he can even eject. Mission accomplished, it's just time to clear up the VTOLs. The enemy VTOLs realize that the person they were hired to protect is now dead, so it's time for them to retreat. So my Centurion follows them and starts taking some shots at their back. A light Gauss round connects with a fuel tank, shattering the VTOL in the sky, sending ripples of fear into the remaining enemy. Our Wolfhound spends a couple minutes reading the instruction manual, realizes that his LBX-20 is basically a buckshot shotgun, and the VTOL is a duck, and takes a shot. Without coordination and panicking, the VTOLs make easy pickings for light Gauss shots. With a 10% chance to hit, the last enemy is taken out with a light Gauss round, and the mission is over. But like I mentioned at the start of the series, even though we won the battle, we took incredibly heavy losses. And I'm about to find out that Roguetech ain't so easy. For salvage, I end up taking the heaviest, most intact VTOL out of the pack. I grab a rocket to try to help rebuild it, as well as a Guardian ECM and a machine gun with some ammo to try to rebuild that APC I got in the first episode. I also got enough parts to make a hummingbird, but it seems more trouble than it's worth, so I'm probably just going to sell that. We get slapped with a 150k repair bill. I'm pretty sure I've sold some light mechs for that much. And if that wasn't bad enough, the pilot that ejected from our team is now stuck behind enemy lines, and we need to go on a mission to rescue him. But probably most concerning is that a lot of my mechs are going to be out for repair for a long time. Until I rebuild my ship and get extra mech bays online, I'm really going to be losing money just paying pilots while they sit and waiting for their mechs to get repaired. I really like this short version of a long battle. Hope you guys like it too. I think I'm going to try to do more in this style. So yeah, mwah.